Long after armistice was declared, and grass regrew over trenches and craters, the horrors of World War I were visible on the faces of soldiers. New weapons like machine guns and bomb shrapnel, combined with improved medical care, meant people with major injuries survived, in visibly scarred ways. Looking up from a trench, or out from under a steel helmet, exposed soft features of faces. Noses, jaws, eyes, and cheeks were lost. But before we continue, thank you guys for all your support. I will do my best to give this kind of content to all of you. And if you want stories or any suggestions, feel free to comment. Make sure to subscribe, and don't forget to give a like button. So without further ado, let's get started. Plastic surgery was not yet systematically taught, as medicine had not caught up to the advances of war. To rehabilitate soldiers who had been disfigured, professional artists ran mask workshops between 1918 and 1919. Derwent Wood, who worked as a sculptor before his military service, oversaw the masks for facial disfigurement department, nicknamed the Tin Noses Shop, at the 3rd London General Hospital. Based on pre-war photographs, and some artistic inspiration, his team molded copper recreations of the soldiers' faces. In Paris, American sculptor Anna Coleman Ladd led the American Red Cross studio for portrait masks for mutilated soldiers, creating hand-painted copper masks, likewise modeled on pre-war photographs. A video from her studio shows a man in a metal-adorned uniform jauntily smoking through a false jaw, discreetly hooked over his ears. Another man has a false nose and eye, held in place by a pair of disguising spectacles. For a moment, there is a miracle as they are reassembled to pre-war selves, but there is no ignoring the uncanny, static state of these metal replacements. And one of those consequences was les gueules cassées, or the broken faces, as the hundreds of thousands of disfigured soldiers were called in France. Medicine had improved enough so soldiers could survive previously fatal injuries, yet those wounds were freshly horrific with machine guns and trench warfare that often left the delicate facial tissue exposed. Noses were reduced to holes, jaws broken beyond repair, eyes blinded, and whole physiognomies blurred by ripped flesh. As Harold Gillies, a doctor who treated thousands of facial injuries, said of his ward, "Only the blind keep their spirits up." Ladd was among several sculptors who used their skills to fashion masks so soldiers could more easily walk in public without shocking and provoking gawking. The Boston-based artist joined others, like Francis Derwent Wood, who were making prostheses out of copper or tin that could be worn like glasses with spectacle bows over the ears. Through the American Red Cross, Ladd set up her small studio for portrait masks in the Latin Quarter of Paris in 1917, its homey interior designed to give comfort and dignity to her patients. Scarred veterans' transformation began with a suffocating plaster cast process used to capture each of their new imperfections. After the war, the technique developed by Anna would go on to be given an official term, anaplastology. This is officially a branch of medicine that deals with the prosthetic rehabilitation of any absent, disfigured or malformed anatomically critical part of the human face. As for Anna herself, she returned to America after the armistice, but her studio continued. It would begin to falter in 1920 and soon after it was closed for good. Sadly, there are no records of the men who wore the masks after the war. But what seems to be clear is that the prosthetics had a very short shelf life. Anna would write in her notes at the time of one of her patients that he had worn his mask constantly and was still wearing it in spite of the fact that it was very battered and looked awful. The vast majority of these masks have since been lost. Many have come to the conclusion that they were buried with their owners when they died. I hope you like this video, and also don't forget to subscribe, and if you want stories or any suggestions, feel free to comment. May God bless to all of you, have a great day, and see you in the next video.